Nope, I went and did it without realizing.
I ain't done with you yet. You hear me? Think you can come up in here and do what you want? We gon' take it?
Barrett!
Tifa! Get your ass back up now! Chopper's gonna chew you up!
Yeah, I agree with you, Alice.
Still alive and kicking?
Damn right. Leading man sticks around to the credits roll. Though we gotta keep moving if we wanna make it that far. You ready?
Yep.
That's a good point. I never thought about it that way. Would Barrett leave Midgard if they were alive? But he's about saving the planet, so if they can save the planet in other ways, which is what Cloud says, then yeah, he will still save the planet.
Time for a rematch, huh? Rude!
I'm probably going to die because I haven't done Barrett's stuff yet.
You. It's nothing personal, bitch!
That makes it personal. What you call me?
Miss me!
You're next, asshole!
Sorry, losers. Gotta play for keeps today. No time to dick around.
Plate separation authorized.
Chatting
Awaiting confirmation.
I want a Reno chatting
Plate
emote.
separation authorized. Awaiting confirmation.
Yeah, coming right up. Yeah? No, you don't! Not when I'm working!
Plate separation authorized. Awaiting confirmation.
Press it. Now.
I dare you. I double dare you. Wait, I need to do Barrett's stuff.
You ain't got shit on us.
Barrett's useless.
Careful. He's quick.
Yeah, quick and running away, baby!
In your tracks.
You're up!
Right. If I die, I don't care. I'm gonna redo the fight anyway.
It's on you.
Need my help, do you? You got this!
I got it. Here we go. Anytime now.
You still ain't it.
It's not over yet.
Tifa, why? What the hell, dude?
Try me.
Helicopter's doing 9 damage, by the way. 9 damage.
I see you.
Powerful helicopter, that. 9 whole damage. Wow, Barrett, you are so stacked right now. 26 damage, Paul!
Stubborn little shitbirds, ain't you?
It was when you said that too soon.
See what? I see you're doing whatever the hell you want. Guess I'm rubbing off on you. Heads up, guys.
Come get me. Come on, shoot me. Shoot me. Shoot me. Rude attack, Tifa. 0 out of 10.
Reload.
Barrett, can you heal my characters? Because that's about all you can do, man.
Hang back.
I'll do it.
I won't give up.
All set.
There it is.
Scared of something?
Let's do this.
There's your pyramid.
I won't.
Back to the lift.
Whatever.
Bro, get out of the way!
Not looking good. Come on.
Back to 11 out of 10. She died anyway!
Still up for it?
Not done yet. No more games.
It's over!
Take the lead.
Let me do this. Giving it my all.
Oh, he might get help over
It's on you.
Hang back.
there. Do you?
Right. It's on you.
You get healed. I need them two. I need them two to be healthy. Cloud. Kill Barrett.
Damn it.
Oh, they're gonna be mad if we don't. Yeah, of course I gotta put the pyramids in there.
Hope your wings, huh?
I was planning to join you anyway.
Let they go down
You
now.
can walk away from. Come on, let's teach them the Turks two-step.
And now things get a bit yikes. The Turks two-step. Now I really don't want to die.
I got you.
What happens when you mess with the Turks?
Bring it.
You're gonna pick a fight with
No more playing nice.
compared to leaving a body bag.
Get rid of Rude, man. He is something. Rude being the real dangerous one here. But, well, Reno's actually really strong as well.
You're going down.
But they're much stronger versions from the first time you fight them as well. Just to add insult to injury. Can you do something like... who are you close to? You.
All set.
My turn.
Off, would ya?
Won't last long.
All right. Watch and learn.
I got it.
Shit.
There's no escape. Bingo.
Shit.
Come on.
Shit.
Take that.
He's like... Whoa, he hit me from that.
Bring it home.
Let me
Rude's down.
out.
Hang back.
Not throwing in the towel.
I'm not throwing in the towel.
Take the lead.
Got it. I can still fight.
Barrett, I thought Barrett was in the heels there.
It's on you.
Let's do this.
Bring it.
Try this. Let's finish this. Take him down.
You ain't gonna get away.
Tifa? Okay.
Give him what's coming
Let's
to him.
finish.
Plate separation authorized.
Probably because
Awaiting
Tifa was beating him up.
confirmation.
He was like, I can't do it. Should we actually prevent it?
How do
Again.
we stop it?
Who knows?
The
Where are you
brute
going?
How did that miss, by the way?
Move! Getting real tired of your shit.
Keep up.
Where'd you?
Plate separation initiated.
Watch Barrett's face here, by the way.
Separation initiated. Commencing separation sequence. Section 1 separation.
Who
imminent.
puts that in a thing, by the way?
Evacuate immediately. Plate separation initiated.
You son of a bitch! What have you done?
Cloud!
Keep up.
How's it going, Bone Washer? What have you done?
What do we do?
He doesn't even show up. He's already in Shinra Tower, which makes sense, by the way. It made no sense that
You
they
can't
flew
do
over
this.
back to Sector 7.
I found Marlene! Eric!
Marlene? My Marlene? What did you do with her?
Where are you?
I'm at the...
Sir, move on. Your activities unwittingly brought you into contact with the Ancients, who is now back in our custody where she belongs. For this, you have my sincerest gratitude. Alas, the sector in which you stand has been
Automatic slapstick, by the way.
Ancient.
Run! You have to go now!
And where exactly do you expect them to go?
Aerith!
Publicly,
His words.
separation imminent. Evacuate the area immediately.
It makes sense that they didn't fly back to do that scene, you know, but they couldn't do that in the original, so. By the way, when you're designing all this, off topic, to the architect that designed all this, who installed a plate separation activation device when building this? What madman think, oh yeah sir, I also put in something to separate the plate if we need to. Don't worry about what's under it. I'm sure like 1,000 feet under, dropping a plate on 1,000 feet won't do any damage, no? And yeah, one pillar, don't get me started on the flaws of how stupid this is, but they couldn't really change that, could they? Smart people. Tough to bear the games working so much the last 3 days. 4 days off though. Oh, it's 4 PM tomorrow. Enjoy your days off, Bone Washer.
You don't get the hell out of here right now.
By the way,
We
this
gotta
time
fix
limit doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Like, it's there for effect, but it doesn't actually do anything. Because you can literally, you can run it down to 0, nothing happens.
Hey! Over here! Found us the way out!
Tifa.
Which is kind of funny, but
Come on! Come on!
come back to that. That cutscene's really cool. Well, you know, for what it is. Maybe it's one on both sides, Ilsma. We just don't see it. It's like a failsafe. So a lot to cover on that. So first and foremost, if you're ever going to recreate the plate dropping, it's a pretty big way of doing it. They still showed the civilians getting caught up in the blast, which is a really important factor, because in the original they show someone's like watching the news and then the plate dropping and like you see it coming, like it's terrifying. So those people, like, you know, yeah, you know, it's just kind of one of those things. It's very well delivered there. It has that impact. You see Wedge, so you feel that connection. If you want to know how Wedge survives, I think the Whispers saved him, if anything, because unless they're just stopping him from trying to leave, but they're there, and they're the only things that could show him from the impact of that, including the cats. I'm not buying. I don't. Or it falls down the hole or something. But yeah, it's a bit convenient. It conveyed the horror of this part very. Yeah, I think this is done very well, and the next scene is even bigger. But they have to react very quickly. There's a lot to show, and then there's like, you see President Shim looking down, and he has that smile on his face. I do miss the classical music. I do feel like they should have still transitioned to the classical music there, because in the original, when the plate drops, you hear President Shim is just sitting there with a glass of wine, you know, watching it burn, with classical music playing in the background, and that makes him so sinister. That makes him like a proper. You're like, this dude is the villain. Like, he seems so sinister, and that really adds that impact. I feel it would have been good for that. There you still got the same from the escape music, which I felt kind of dulled it a bit. And then you see Kate Sith. Obviously we know it's controlled by Reeve, so you know, like, and he's been against it. He was trying to argue before, and then that was his only way to physically see it, like, to that degree, say in a safe way without being caught, and it just destroyed him seeing that happen. Because he cares about the people, so yeah. And it's interesting to show Kate Sith right there. Kate Sith really there at that moment in time as well, because I don't think anyone expects that. Anyway, we'll continue with this scene.
Hey! Anybody out there?
Because this is where it really hits.
I think I hear him up ahead.
Hey! Can anybody hear me?
Here goes.
And push!
It's suddenly clean, by the way. Did they have a shower? Music's really sad as well. Hits hard.
Marlene. Marlene. Marlene! Marlene! Biggs!
No, he's
Wedge!
always
Jesse! God damn it! God damn you! God damn you all! Marlene. Marlene.
It was us. We did this.
No. You can't think like that. Whatever came before it was Shinra that pulled the trigger today. Am I right?
Yeah.
Hold on to this anger, okay?
Barrett. Marlene's fine.
Huh?
Aerith found her.
Aerith. Is that the girl they took?
Yeah. That's her.
What the hell's going on?
I asked Aerith to find Marlene and take her somewhere safe.
And she did? You sure? Hey, where you going?
So there's a big debate which version hits harder. I think they both hit extreme. This had to be this. This couldn't have been done any better, in my opinion. This whole scene, all of this part, could not have been done any better. And if they had failed at this part, there wouldn't be a rebirth, guys. I'm telling you right now. This was a huge part of the game that everyone in their mind knew was coming when they were doing this. And it's one of those things like, you're like, will they actually like drop the plate? How will they recreate that scene? It's all things that we thought when they were making the remake. How will they deliver this? Can it live up to the expectation of the original? Because the original delivers so well as well. Like, the original does hit hard as well, like the way, but it's just there's only so much they can do. But this one, the emotion on the face, like for example, Cloud doesn't go near him. Cloud knows that Tifa and Barrett have been working to fight. They've been fighting. Cloud's just only been part recently, so it's not like it's like a thing. He feels like he needs to stay away at that moment to let them have their moment to get out of the system. And he's like, he's lost all his friends. Barrett lost all his friends, and like he thinks Marlene's gone. And you can hear it in his voice. Yes, the VA, it was said in chat, the VA for Barrett is really creative. Barrett's one of the best characterizations in this game, and actually throughout all of it, my favourite Barrett in all Final Fantasy VII. And then he stays to his conviction as well, because Tifa's sitting there blaming herself, saying, "We've done this, we created this, we made this happen, we we fought Shinra and this is what we do. It's our this is what we had coming. And Barrett's like, no, they started this. We, you know, he still stands to his belief. So he's still that strong character, you know, the leadership character. One thing the original does is that he's a strong leader, and then he stops being a leader and he's irrelevant after Midgar. And I really hope that doesn't happen. I don't think that will happen anymore. And he really just carries the team here. And then even he nods Cloud saying, yeah, you can speak now, kind of thing, like gives them, they've had their moment. Because Tifa doesn't know that she's looking at, you know, they don't know what to do next. She's lost and Barrett still has direction. And then Cloud's like, Marlene's okay, hang on a minute. And then yeah. Well, even just, you know, looking at that, thinking, holy cow. There's a car there. Like, the music hits hard as well. The music is just so well perfectly put in. How's it going, Fat Cat, by the way? Hope you're doing well. But yeah, down to her shake, and he's like, hold that anger. You know, you're gonna use that. You can use that to turn things around. Wait, is this where I came from? I can't remember. Yeah, Barrett's very. Oh, this is where we started, wasn't it? Barrett is that father figure. He plays a father figure to Marley, but he plays a father figure to everybody here. We used the line Sephiroth spoke out earlier too. Which line? Yeah, there's a lot going in my head right now. Hold on. Which line did they use? Which line you referring? Oh, hold on to the anger line, yeah. Oh, hold on to that anger, control it, we can reuse it. Now this is where it also hits as well. Like, it doesn't just stop there with that scene. Like, then they go...
How could this happen? I didn't really think that...
Come on, dear. We gotta keep moving.
Like, even these two soldiers, so these are the two soldiers that you let everybody out, right? Like, the new recruits, like, I didn't see it. Even the experienced soldiers, like...
I don't...
Whoa.
What do we do now?
Like, that's
you were
what?
hired
Did I
to
just
do.
see?
Get these people out of here.
And they're just doing their job to help people, you know?
What the hell is going on? What the hell is going on?
So you know, things could have been a lot worse if you hadn't done what you did.
I love that bit.
Sometimes you can't let yourself be bound by orders.
I've made up my mind. I'm not gonna do this job for Shinra anymore. I'm an officer of the people now.
That's really cool. Like, so the NPC stuff is stuff that I don't ever see. I spoke about everywhere. The NPCs have done fantastically.
We need to think
Like,
about supplies and shelter.
they're
and
talking
food
about
for all these
what they can do for people,
I work for the people,
turning a new
not
leaf
the
and stuff like that.
corporation.
Like,
No, you've given me a lot to think about.
look at even the senior
I can't
officer
let rules and orders dictate
is like
my
now
life.
questioning everything, you know. And that's in like an NPC line. You don't even have to, no one pays attention. Probably should walk straight past
How
that, you
could
know.
this happen?
I didn't really think that.
Tell me this isn't happening. Got a friend in Sector 7.
Got a friend, had a friend in Sector 7.
I wouldn't count on it.
I wouldn't count it. You see the follow-up line to that? Oh my god. He did such a good job recalling all the important scenes that resonated with us the most, even though we'll complain about the filler. It's literally there for OG fans. There's filler in the original, you could argue.
When is help going to arrive?
And then like, where is Shinra? So they've like started to give up on Shinra now.
Just fell out of the sky. Is this for real? Afraid it is.
Like,
This happened before when this city was being built. It was a nightmare just like this.
You wouldn't believe this would be a thing, right? And then it's happened.
Accident?
No, but there was gunfire.
And then also you look up here and you can actually see the hole.
This happened
So this is
before when
important.
City was being built.
This
It
is
was a
important.
nightmare
You can
just
see
like
the
this.
hole in the sky now. And you're like, that's when it starts to really hit. You can see the hole in the
Is this for
sky.
real?
Afraid it is.
Remember that customer from the other day? He was from Sector 7.
That's just to people when they say this game had too much filler.
I
Is it?
certainly hope so.
So this is why it was originally intended back then. Isn't it the means to do it? Midgar was supposed to be a roller coaster of emotions, but
I don't know if I can work right
yeah.
now.
Take off all the time you need.
Remember that customer from the other day?
Yeah, it's not a remake, it's
He
called
was
the
from
remake.
Sector 7.
You
So
think he's okay?
it's its own, yeah. So it's not a remake of Final Fantasy VII. It's almost like, this is what he's saying, it's like a, it's happening again, it's like, it's time travel basically. It's time travel or parallel
Take
universes.
off all the time you need.
And yeah, obviously there was limitations what they could do on the original games, even with 3 discs.
Remember that
I wouldn't say it was
customer
all
from the other
intended.
day?
Stuff's been
He
added
was
on,
from Sector 7.
but
You think
like
he's okay?
the way they add it on, all these NPCs really do add to the level.
When this city was being built.
You know, it's so well done. So you can't call it filler either, because you can't call it filler. I'm sorry, I know I've said this already, but you can't call it filler unless you're going to call half the original game filler as well. People would argue the Gonagar seeing Rude Marina there is canon, but actually you could say that's filler because you don't have to do it. You know, Vincent and Yuffie, would they really be canon? Or are they filler? Because they're optional characters. So it depends on what lines you want to go down the whole filler thing. But at the end of the day, they've just expanded on how big Midgar is and created stories out of Midgar. It's better than just having a 5-minute Midgar game and that's 20 hours long. So, and the only reason why you call it filler is because you're still seeing this as a remake or to the original game, as a video game. It's not a remake of an original video game. It's its own. I call it. It's a whole new canon. It's got nothing. You know, it's not a follow-up. It's not a. It's not a. It's not a remake. It's not. Again, I use The Last of Us now because it's a good example to you. The Last of Us remake that's being made is just the same game being remade, same story, just being, they're just remaking it because of modern graphics. That's all they're doing it for. This has been remade. This is a game that's called The Remake because the lore is calling it The Remake for a reason. That's why Rebirth is called Rebirth for a reason. And the third one will be re-energized. I say that as a meme, as a joke, but like the third one's going to be something as well. It's not a retelling yet because a retelling would still make the story exactly the same. There are differences in this, so it feels like the decisions still can be different. Like, if it wasn't for Reborn's a good one, by the way. If we could have stopped the pillar from dropping so many times, the Whispers made it happen, but there was time we beat the Turks. We could have stopped the pillar from dropping. Absolutely. You know, that would have happened if it weren't for the Whispers. So it's like some things are forcing it to happen, but the story is still changing and still there are still differences. So it's still like they still have their free decisions. I can't think of free choice. Yeah. Developers themselves said that with the side quest they wanted to highlight the world of Midgar, the daily lives of citizens in different sectors, and I really wanted to see that. I'm glad that it isn't there. The wall market and how seedy is and stuff like that, it's done so well. Sector 5 all being different, I love it. I love that stuff. It all adds to the level of immersion that is the world of Final Fantasy VII, and that's what we wanted from a remake, I guess. Like, I didn't want the same thing again. I wanted... Final Fantasy VII is one of the few Final Fantasies that actually could be expanded, and the world has so much. There's so much that wasn't explained, there's so much that wasn't... 8, 9, 10... they cover everything. There's nothing much really you can go further more. I don't say what you want about 10. The game starts and ends, and the story starts and ends perfectly in 10. Like, I use them 3 because that's the other 3 that people would automatically jump to. 6, I don't know too much about whether it could. I need to replay 6 to decide whether I feel like it would benefit from a remake, but it would have to be to this scale, and none of them could probably do it to this scale. 6 probably could, actually, because of how big the world is in 6. But like, the world, you know, and this is why I like the whole idea of episodes. You could have so many episodes of everything. It, you know, they've done the Yuffie, which I'm looking forward to seeing, but you know, and say there could be a Turks episode. There could be, you could have Bob from Cosmo Canyon episode for all we know. It's still in the same world, and they could still, it's like happening alongside the same events, you know. And this is what I love about it. Like, this Final Fantasy VII world is so huge, so much unexplored territory that they could work on. Things they've probably been wanting to do since the birth of Final Fantasy VII. They just didn't know how big it was going to be. You know, they made Dirge of Cerberus, they did Crisis Core, they did all these other follow-up games, but they never found a way to really make it all one big release, it, have it all come out at once. This is why Crisis Core Reunion, which no one really saw coming, and then they just did it, was huge. Because now we're like, they're going to do that, and they're going to put it in before Rebirth, so it ties in perfectly to this. So everything that's being released now is to this. It's just, it's incredible what they've done, and I'm really looking forward to it, because then they can really do, you know, when they finish all of the main arc, they could do they can redo Dirge of Cerberus and keep expanding further as well. Like, it's interesting. Or that could be another episode, to be fair. Like, it's very interesting to see where it can go and what they can do. They have so much opportunity now to work with, and that's what I wanted from it. Whether it can be considered filler or not, that's down to your call. But like, at the end of the day, this is what I want. You know, you have the story that we know, but then whether it changes, that it can change potentially as well. The fact that we can have these conversations because they could change the story, and we'd probably still enjoy it. In fact, we would still enjoy it. If they keep everything the same going forward, I'd actually be really disappointed at this point, because they've done so many differences already. And actually, this game makes this more. There's a lot more relatable stuff in this game than the original, in my opinion, for me. Like, the decisions and the characterizations and the actions and the way they talk and carry themselves, just down to facial expression as well, is stuff that I feel is very real. Like, very real how we would react. You know, Tifa right there struggling to... She has all this anger, she doesn't know what to do with it. You know, I feel like that's a very relatable. If you're in a situation where things are going bad, I can think of an example in the world right now, you would know how to react to it. You know, like, you can be angry, you're sad, people have different reactions and emotions, and this game portrays that. Like, Barrett and Tifa act completely different to what's just happened in front of them. Barrett does a phenomenal job. Like, the VA really shines Barrett in a way it's unreal. It's not as important OG, it wasn't a full game literally. Yeah, so Trev's saying that, like, they made a decision, they made a full game here. I'm so glad you just called this the full game, because they have made a full game. Making full games of this story is an incredible idea, because they can expand again, make more of what we can do. Think of how big Rebirth can be now that it's being made on an engine for PS5 as well. It could be huge, and it will be big because they made this for the PS4 initially. The way they made the character interaction even more, and it also adds to the characterizations. Like, we know more about Biggs even when he's not in the game, like just from like the orphanage and stuff like that. Like, it's so cool how they've done that. And like, I want you to just cast our mind back. There was a mission with Jessie. We went above to Sector 7, the top of the plate. Her mum lives in Sector 7, at the top of that plate. So it weren't just the people under and all the slums, it was the people above. And they take us to the top of Sector 7 plate, and now you're like, oh my god, we was on top of that plate. That whole village is now gone as well. It's not just everyone who got crushed under, it's everyone above it as well. That probably did no idea. Like, some people have escaped here, But no one above knew what was going on, and just like that, you know. Jesse's parents, you know, obviously probably bit the bullet as well. So it's kind of like, you know, they've made you go on top of Sector 7, so you see that what's above as well, to humanize up there as well as under. So extremely well delivered. It's not just the slums, it's everything. Yet simple. If there was Remake 6 like doing a lot of this game, I think 6 is a big enough world to actually do it. But I only if they can deliver this, finish it and do everything, not in the middle, you know. But yeah, one thing I think is always worth mentioning is the fact that you've been on top of the plate for Sector 7 as well. And you thinking now that village is now gone as well. That town or whatever, the city.
This wasn't an accident, was it?
How would I know?
You stop it with that talk.
And then you look up and you see nothing in the sky. And you're like, damn. They even took it, you know, like it's like they covered it. And with the sky being the colour that it is, it makes it really gloomy as well. Like, yeah. Just well done, Square, for this. This was the make or break. If they had messed this up, to be honest with you, if it wasn't really well delivered or it was a bit, if it hadn't hit your emotions that well, we'd probably be like, this game wasn't all that, you know. This was a big thing that everyone's thinking how they're going to re-deliver this.
I said, where you going?
Aerith's house. It's in the Sector 5 slums.
And that's where Marlene is?
Where we hope she is.
Tell me she is. Give me something to hang on to. Even if she's not, I won't blame you for it, I swear. Who am I kidding? I'd probably try to tear your head off.
I love how Barrett knows that.
Hey, Tifa. Know anything about ancients?
I know I've heard of them at least.
They come up in planetology books.
This is interesting.
Meant to be the original stewards of the planet. Could even commune with it, talk to it and stuff.
That's Barrett showing his knowledge from Cosmic
wanted her
Canyon.
so badly.
In my veins flows the blood of ancients. This planet is my birthright.
He looks so badass, so funny.
You have failed again, I see.
Oh, the choir! Oh, the hit. Failed again.
But through suffering, you will grow strong. Isn't that what you want?
Cloud?
It's nothing. Let's go.
Has her chef as much imagine if they got. They didn't do that. They didn't just throw him in there just for the sake of it. It's you gotta remember because Cloud's is like Cloud's screwed from the beginning. Like he's only got like been experimented on by Hojo and all the Mako and stuff like that. He's a Sephiroth clone. So Hojo wanted to be a Sephiroth clone. He's infused with Genova cells. So Genova's like trying to guide him towards a reunion. Sephiroth is trying to control him, and then Sephiroth might be abusing this factor. And we don't know if this version Cloud has Sephiroth cells in him as well. S cells, so they call it, however. That might be a factor as well, which is why Sephiroth could be in his head. And he said you failed again. So he's like Sephiroth's trying to make him stronger, which builds onto the 7 seconds. What you're going to do with these 7 seconds at the again later on. Sephiroth, and then if we think into the Rebirth, just cast your mind to the Rebirth trailer. Sephiroth says, what? They say a line, what is Sephiroth's endgame? You failed again. Sephiroth's trying to make Cloud stronger for a reason. You failed again. What is Sephiroth's endgame? Start seeing what is what is Sephiroth really doing now? Or the Sephiroth that is going to control what I'm going to call all the universes in this world. I think there's more. I think there's one Sephiroth who's trying to be like God. He wants to be a god. He's going for God level Sephiroth, not just Genova level Sephiroth. I'm talking God one. There's Genova Sephiroth in the world already. There's God Sephiroth incoming. You know that's what I'm thinking. But he's not the main antagonist in this game, at least for most part. The main antagonist is Shinra. I reckon in the next one it will be Sephiroth, absolutely, but then they set itself up at the end by saying we have to chase Sephiroth now. Yeah, the high-pitched choir there was really well done. I agree, yeah, they do have to put him in, but it's just like how they're using him here. Like, I didn't even think about the breadcrumbs there. When it says in the trailer what is Sephiroth's endgame, that's such a good scene to use there.
It's like there's a hole in the sky.
And if you had looked at it, you could look at it. You can even see the full reactor from down here now. Normally you don't be able to see it, but you can see the full reactor, which is really good.
Chocobos are so frightened they're refusing to move.
Where's Sam? Sam's here, isn't he? They're all here.
Someone forget a plate? Damn, how did you have to drink, son?
Are you okay?
Whoa, someone forget a plate?
You shouldn't just sit around here talking about it.
Shimmer took a slice of pizza.
Wait. Over there.
What the hell are they doing here?
Their jobs, probably. Just focus on seeing Marlene again. Nothing else.
Legit paralyzed with fear. I'm serious. Yeah, we ain't gonna get a better chance. Glad you said yes.
Oh, buddy.
Found him? We're searching the compound as we speak, sir.
You still have me.
Found him? We're searching the compound as we speak, sir.
Andrea?
Did you find what you were looking for?
Thanks to you, I did.
Good. Now never let it go again.
She's right here.
What's with all these soldiers in the streets all of a sudden?
And I guess there's nothing to go back to.
Found him? We're searching the compound as we speak, sir.
Wait, I forgot to do this when we first came to the wool market. We'll do it later. I don't think you can do anything here, but this is the old weapon shop. Or item shop. They actually put it in the game. I completely forgot it was here when we were doing the wool market. Yeah, the thing there with the gun and all that stuff's in there. I forgot that was there. I tried to show off as much as I could.
Found him? We're searching the compound as we speak, sir.
The first thing we need to do is find a place to take refuge.
Have ways to dig them out safely. Or maybe no one learned anything after the Sector 6 collapse.
What you doing here at a time like this?
I want some sauce.
The sauce.
What do we need for tomorrow? I want to make sure I'm prepared.
Wear something you can move in and bring gloves.
Well, this is a fine mess.
How bad is it here?
Compared to Sector 7, we're doing fine. But that's hardly an accomplishment. However, did it come to this?
Is it true that Sector 7's pretty much destroyed?
So even the wool market's like,
Yeah.
what just happened, dude?
Biggs too. They were both in pretty bad shape. But Wedge wasn't up there with them. He got out.
All right.
Let's go home for the night. We'll try again tomorrow, okay?
My door is in Sector 7. This is terrifying line. You haven't come this way yet, so...
I've been thinking, y'all. We gotta go find the others.
Huh?
If we don't look for them, who will?
Right.
Hey, Cloud. Gonna need your help with it, too.
Right.
I love how they keep this song playing throughout. You know, like in other games or whatever, especially in the original, you'd hear like the other song play back and you just like switch off and stuff like that. They keep this song playing throughout all the way until you get to Aerith's house on purpose. Like the director was just like, no, we keep this going. Like, maybe this may be fuel down there, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to break immersion. And then 2 sectors away, everyone's like,
It's really gone.
what is going on, man? There's even a line in there, people were like, where's the help? So they would look to Shinra for help, right? But where's Shinra? So maybe people start seeing the truth and stuff like that.
My ears are still ringing from it.
This wasn't an
This is Sector 5, right?
Because
So
it would make
where's this
sense.
place you said
Why would
Marlene
people
is?
question
Where I think she is.
a few
It's a house
people
on the other side of
over an
town.
entire army?
Come
That's
on
what
then,
you say.
pick up the pace.
I'm going as fast as you are.
Right then, mate.
I can't even imagine how it looks over there. Anywhere Midgar is still safe. Doesn't feel like it.
I think it's true what they said about
I
Avalanche.
can't even imagine how it looks over there.
They're questioning Avalanche. Do you think it's true? They're wondering whether there's truth or not now.
I can't even imagine how it looks over there.
Like I'm in a movie or something.
First I lose my feelings bad beat, then I lose my house. Luck I've got. I'd say you're pretty lucky to be alive.
Like, it's everywhere. They got like... Oh, this guy's just asleep. That guy's just asleep. So this is like in the middle of the night as well. They also prevent you from going certain places very cleverly. Like you can't sneak through the oh, Chadley. We'll do Chadley later. Right. You can't go through here and stuff in a minute. I think you can go through there in the middle of the night. There's no reason to. Yeah, I love how the NPCs, that's why I'm listening to every NPC. I like the effects that they're using, you know, the daily life and how people are reacting to it, not just going, oh, there's a few lines of dialogue, like those 2 soldiers, like, who were guarding the gates are great examples of, they've got character development on NPCs, do you know what I mean? And like, how it's affecting everybody's daily life and how they're going to change stuff like that. They didn't have to write that stuff in there, but they did it anyway. They nailed it. They absolutely nailed it, Mushroom. I agree. Like I said, this game's a very dark game, and the first time you go to the wall market, I was saying before how you feel like you've escaped from the darkness of Midgar, even though it's a seedy town or something. the whole section's a lot of fun, and you escape from all this mess, you know. Final Fantasy VII originally did a really good job of having that balance, and this game also has that good balance. All the kids are like, whoa, what's that? Like, this is what we're... If we saw something like this, if we lived in Midgard and we saw this, we would all be like staring going, what? Like, they're all staring and thinking, no way. Like, look at it. That hits. I was saying before, the refrain graveyard, how they made a poor look of like how the top looks. This is done amazing. So they can do it. They just didn't in that one reason. Like, no matter where you go, you can't not see it, you know? You're gonna see that carnage no matter where you are. Because you can see all other plates, so it's not, you gotta remember, it's not just us. You can see other plates. So if you're living in like sector 3, you're gonna still see a gap in the distance, you know, where a plate is. And then everybody now living in every single section of the slum is now terrified about living in the slums. Because they just saw that go. So they're thinking, I probably don't want to live here much longer. Because that's what I'll be doing. I'd be like, right, I'm moving out. Let's go. Right. Time for your tissues part 2. This place tonight looks amazing, by the way.
That's the house.
Like in real life, they have nowhere to go.
Where's Marlene? Is she here?
Barrett!
She doesn't even know who he is yet.
Sorry, I'm Barrett. Marlene's my little girl. Marlene, she's got short hair. She's cute as a button, with the heart of an angel. She was wearing, pink. She was wearing a pink dress today.
Upstairs.
Huh? Oh.
The relief.
I said she's sleeping.
That's that parent connection.
I want to see her too. Come on, let's go look in on her.
Like, he stops there. Like, he just
Keep
wants to
it
go
down.
see her.
Don't wake her.
He wants to go see her, but like, she's like, she's sleeping. He's like, oh, okay. Like, you know, as a parent, he knows.
Maybe you should join your friend upstairs.
Marlene, my baby. Thank God.
Shh. Shinra has my daughter now.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm the one who asked her to go get Marlene. We'd only just met, but she was so kind and helpful. I took advantage of her.
It's not your fault. It was only a matter of time before she ended up back there.
Because she's an ancient. That it?
So she told you about that. She must trust you all a great deal. Yes, Aerith is an ancient. Probably the last one living. She's not my daughter. Not by blood, I mean. If that's what you were wondering. About 15 years ago. My husband, he'd been shipped off to fight on the front lines. But then I received a letter saying he'd be home for a bit. So when the day came, I went to the station to meet him. But he didn't come. I couldn't help fearing the worst, even then. But I told myself his leave must have been postponed, that he'd been delayed. Every day I went, to wait and to pray.
Sanctified train station, by the way. I'll stop talking now.
And that's how I met her. Her and her mother. I thought maybe they'd run away from Wall Market, or that they were topsiders fallen on hard times. I'd seen that sort of thing a lot. Take Aerith somewhere safe. Those were her mother's dying words. My husband had been away for so long, and I was lonely. So I convinced myself the safest place for the girl was with me. It took no time at all for her to start feeling like family. She was a real chatterbox. She told me strange stories. Like how she and her mother had escaped from some sort of facility. And how she wasn't sad because her mother had just returned to their planet.
Their planet, huh? Yeah, that sounds about right.
I didn't understand any of it at the time. When I asked if she meant one in the sky, she said no. This one, right here. I mean, what can you say to that?
Mommy, don't be sad.
That's what she said to me one day, out of the blue. So I asked her, what's wrong?
What a mommy, no mom.
A man you really, really loved just died. His heart came a long way to say goodbye. But he couldn't stay because he had to return to the planet.
I didn't believe her, of course. And then, a few days later, I received a letter saying my husband had been killed in action.
That piano hit hard.
Things like that, she'd just know. It was a lot to deal with, but we were happy. And then came the knock.
Coming!
It doesn't age, by the way.
No! Go away!
Just walk on in.
Aerith, you know you're not just any little girl. You're a descendant of the ancients.
I had no idea what he meant, so I said, "Who are the ancients?"
She aged.
They were the original stewards of the planet, whose boundless knowledge and wisdom shall guide us to the promised land. Some believe the promised land to be a myth, others an allegory of sorts. But we take the words of the scriptures at face value and believe it to be quite real.
Sure you do.
Which is why Shinra would like very much for Aerith to help us.
You're wrong! I'm not an ancient!
But Aerith, even when you're all alone,
He does
don't
not
you
look
hear
16.
voices whispering secrets?
He does not look 16.
No, never!
But all three of us knew that wasn't true. That man knew exactly who Aerith was, where she'd come from, and what she could do.
They knew where she was, but they didn't just take her? Doesn't sound like the Turks I know.
That's what I'm thinking.
She
Thanks for
had
saying
to
that,
come
Carl.
willingly, otherwise it wouldn't work, they said.
Still
That's
doesn't
why,
make sense.
even if they did take her away, I'm sure she's still being treated like a guest.
Copium.
And that they'll send her straight back home once they get what they need.
Even more copium.
I doubt it.
You're not planning anything, are you? Don't make things worse than they already are. If I lost her too, I don't know if I could ever. Just don't.
Cloud, maybe she's right about this. Maybe they'll let Aerith go when it's all over. Maybe we'd be better off waiting a little while.
Let's head back to Sector 7. Got things to take care of. Like checking up on the bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I thought another scene was gonna happen first. So.
Take care of yourselves now.
I don't blame her for trying to stop Cloud and gang from going to stop to go and save Aerith just in case something bad happens to her, because she's terrified and she's not ready to accept that, you know, she thinks that, you know, because they could have just took her. I've never understood why they didn't just take her, but, you know, what Mako is doing for the world, it's advanced stuff, but it's improved people's quality of life. That's like saying, you know what, electricity is killing the planet. Trevor, you gonna stop using it? You know, I'm not saying it is. I'm just using it. If that was the thing, because that's basically what's happening here. They found a source of power that keeps things running. This is like water infused with Mako and some of it, but it might just be the colouring. The colouring is awesome though. Okay. The Elmira scene has done really well as well. I didn't really talk about it. I feel it delivered its piece anyway, and I think there's not much to talk about. The piano, Simon the piano hits really hard, perfectly at the right moments during the entire thing. With Aerith's mum, when Elmira finds out the truth, when she gets the letter, like they make a lot of the stories, and it's very relatable for the player, no matter who it is. Main theory of the circular of the internet is that Turks didn't really focus on it through the years. It's not just that, Alice, because then they just let her go like that when you go and save her. They make no effort to keep her. Hojo especially. Hojo, the one who wanted to keep her, literally lets her go. He puts in some tests to test Cloud and stuff as well, because obviously he recognises Cloud, which we'll talk about later on when we get there. But like, it's not, you know, they knew where she was the whole time. But maybe they can get more out of her when she's not a kid, you know. Maybe that's why they didn't do anything to Aerith when she was a kid, but when she's grown up, they can. I don't know, but I think it's just something that it's just they never really touched upon, because it was already like that in the original game and the original setting, and they can't really change that because it would just be an uproar, and the story loses linear the line that it needs to follow.
The main entrance to Sector 7 is buried under rubble now. So how are we supposed to get back inside?
Underground passage in the park.
Good plan.
I think the
But
Turks
how do
know
we
that.
get to the park?
I know another way to get there. Aerith showed me before.
This ancient girl knows her stuff. Didn't mean anything by it.
Do the Turks know they were bad guys? Well, they show that in this game. Like, Reno and Rude both are, like, questioning whether they would want to be responsible for dropping the plate. There might be a scene later on where we actually see them talk and say, like, I'm losing sleep because I dropped the plate and all those people, kind of thing. Saying, I think he's a bit more straightforward. He knows what his job is and he has no, like, conscience, you know, I think he's very smart, but very loyal to Rufus. So he'll just do whatever he needs to do. Yeah, Rude even says it, I'm not a bad guy, I do bad things. And I think that's the same for Rude and Reno. And probably Elena as well. They're all like, they know what they signed themselves up for when they did the training to become, you know, you don't just become a Secret Service agent. You go through training, you go through, you know, you know, they're not like kids, you know what I mean? They've gone through a lot of like hard mental training to be able to prepare for this kind of stuff as well. They probably know more than they need to know. Yeah, they probably know everything, but they don't care. So their job is to do this. I think Seng's probably interested in the bigger picture and what the ancients are as well. I think he does have a personal interest in that, but he runs the Turks. So at the end of the day, he's just doing the orders. Yeah, well, that's just Shinra. That's corporate companies, Trev. There it is. A sense of normality, almost.
My heart is still pounding.
They know what they're doing, but to some degree they just don't care. Yeah. Well, Hojo just doesn't care. Hojo's just crazy. Hojo's just a madman. Turks are smart, but they're secret. They're like the Secret Service. You know, whatever it applies to whichever country. You know, the FBI, MI5. Or they're that version for Shinra. They're hired by Shinra to do the dirty job, do secret, do the stuff that they don't want to be uniformed for. So they're not publicly known. So like people don't publicly know who the Turks are. They might always have them dress up in suits and make them really obvious in this game, but reality is they would just be like look like normal people that are trained killers. They're like the Born Identity people, you know, in the film Born Identity. That's all they do. They're paid to do a job, whether they like it or not. Do the dirty stuff, you know, for Shinra. So it's not public eye that Shinra has dropped the plate. There's the, you know, no. If any soldier was caught, if you notice the soldiers were defending the plate. You know, they weren't attacking the plate. They were defending the plate, as far as they went. All the soldiers attacking Sector 7 plate thought they were defending the plate. The only people that knew they were dropping the plate was Reno and Rude, and Seng. Kylo, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you being here. Have a good one. Hope your weekend gets better, by the way. Hope you get chill. Yeah, does that make sense? Am I making sense of that? So, yeah, like, the soldiers thought they were defending the plate from Avalanche as terrorists. Avalanche was defending the plate, or the people of Sector 7 were defending the plate because they thought Shinra were trying to destroy their home. The only people that knew the plate was being dropped was Tifa, Cloud, Aerith, Barrett when he saw what was happening, Reno, Rude and Seng, and President Shinra, and Heidegger. It wasn't very obvious that they were dropping the plate. The only reason why, yeah, oh, and we got it from Corneo that they were dropping the plate. Corneo knew obviously as well. Like that, you know, is what was happening there. It's not like all of Shinra were attacking it. So that's what the Turks are. They do the job that for Shinra, for President Shinra, that they don't want the public eye, want public to know about, you know. And that's why I think it was really important when they showed the human side of Reno and Rude in the helicopter. Like, is this are we doing the right thing? Should we do this? They're both Reno and Rude question doing it. And funnily enough, Rude, who you probably think is more human and cares more about being against it than Reno would, is the one who pushes the button. But he might just be loyal to Reno, who's like his best friend, so. It won't, yeah, the Turks don't care. I don't think it's the Turks don't care. I think it's more a question of morals. Like, they were questioning their own morals. Seng doesn't care. Seng, it's very clear that Seng did not care whether that plate was dropping or not. But Reno and Rouge seem to be more affected by it. I think there's a scene later on where they question it as well. But yeah. Couldn't happen all be up to nearby. Oh God, Lord. Well, welcome back, Gilsma. I didn't get to say bye earlier because it was in the middle of a big scene. But yeah. I think that's a very safe place to leave it as well, to be honest with you. Some heavy discussion. I think the next scene takes us to I think the next section takes us to hang on a minute. Well, that's interesting. They do show that. There's one thing I've noticed as well, and it's not in the PS5 version, is that there is no there's actually a bit of lore in all of the loading screens for this game on the PS4 version, but because the PS5 has no loading, you don't see that. So that bit's gone. So they actually cover some bits of information in there, and they'll show recaps as well when you reload and just remind you. But yeah, I think today was a big one. The Sector 7, you know, the train go on Sector 7, which took a lot longer than I thought. But it made some huge progress. Now we'll start to make ground towards, you know, the final steps of the game. Next time we'll obviously cover returning back to Sector 7, doing the underground area there, and then there's obviously, when we come back to Aerith's house, there's a big scene that I want to talk about there as well. And then the rest of the wall market, which we'll cover next time. But yeah, we covered a lot today as well. Some big scenes, but a lot of emotion drawn from it all. So yeah, I want to hear your input on all, and what you think of it all, what your theories are, how you think the plate was being dropped and how that was delivered. Love to hear you think as well. But we will see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching. Peace.